The Edo 2020 governorship election is scheduled for the 19th of September 2020. And that's just a couple of weeks away, a couple of months away. And today, we're setting agenda for an issue-based campaign. And I'm being joined now by two gentlemen. One, his wife just put to bed, is still in the euphoria of that. Faris Okberi, congratulations to you for the newborn baby.
Thank you very much.
And no doubt mom and baby are kicking and doing so great. Faris, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.
We have with us as well Idris Zakari. Idris, many thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me as always. Thank you.
Okay, so I always love to ask this question, having a discussion of this nature, which is, what are the key issues to look out for in the campaigns for Edo 2020? Let me begin with you, Fares.
Yeah, the key issues are very simple. The infrastructure, healthcare, our economy, the general welfare of Edo people, and the governor's performance. And also we look at the opposition in the state and the characters of those who are interested in the office of the governor. So those are the main key issues. And then when I talk about infrastructure and the economy, we talk about the performance of the governor. Have His Excellency the governor done well? Does he deserve re-election? Has he repositioned the state to an extent where Edo people will decide to say, okay, let's give him another 4 years to continue the good work that he has done? And my answer is yes. Those are the issues that we'll be looking at. And I believe that Edo people would look at what the governor have done in the last 4 years, where the state is, from a state that was known for terrorism. When I talk about terrorism, I'm talking about agberoism, harassments of traders and bus drivers, from open display and rascality by street urchins in the name of community developments and all of that, to a state where there is now some sense of tranquility. You know, a state that was known for human trafficking, that we had a very bad reputation for human trafficking, to a state where right now our people are no longer going to die in the seas anymore, just in about 3.5 years. So I would say that those are the issues that we should look at. We should look at the improvements in the educational sector, do best programs. You know, the issue-based campaign should start from these particular issues, and let those who are interested in the office of the governor come out and tell us what they can do better or what they intend to do better, so that the people can be the judge and decide who they want to follow. All
right, give me a preamble, perspectives on the issues that should shape Edo 2020. Idris.
Well, first of all, I congratulate my brother on his newborn baby.
Thank you.
He has said exactly what I would have said. The issues are the same. It's just the perspective that differ significantly. We are talking of health. We are talking of education. We are talking of physical infrastructure. We are talking of human capital development. We are talking of the character of those who are in charge of office right now. And then we are measuring those parameters with the performance of the incumbent governor as a premise to whether he deserves a second term or not. Although they say the final say remains with the average Edo man out there that has his voter's card.
The electorate.
Good. But as public affairs analysts, we can help inform, educate. And sometimes, some of us help mislead the public. So more often than not, all we try to do is to inform based on the issues on ground.
Yeah.
So I agree with my brother completely that these are the issues.
Okay. Okay. Let's start off with, because you mentioned infrastructure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where were we before? Where are we today? Where are we going?
Okay. Talking about infrastructure, we all can see the developmental strides of the governor in the last 3.5 years. We could see the huge projects that are ongoing, completed also. And the governor is not someone that makes a lot of noise. It doesn't believe in razzmatazz and all of that. You could see, for example, the stadium. You could see the sports centers that were built. You could go to Uniben here and see the hostels that were abandoned for so many years. All of them wear a new look. Many of the hostels that were built in the early 70s, for over 40 years, nobody has gone there. That's a federal institution. The state government in its own wisdom has gone there and put those infrastructure in proper looking condition. And then if you talk about our schools, the state government, under His Excellency Godwin Nogagase Obaseki, has transform the educational sector. It's not about just having schools, having infrastructure in schools. What he has done is also make sure that the teachers are well trained. For the first time, we now have computer-based learning in primary schools. We now have our public primary schools now competing and even doing far better than most private schools, which is something that we've never seen before. And then you could see that we've had a government now that in the last 3 years have gone away from a government of before that engaged solely on borrowing to a government that is now even paying debts and not even borrowing. And we had a government now before that you see pensioners dying on the streets. You see local government workers being owed 40-month salary like you had in Ego. You have teachers on the streets, begging for their salaries, and public workers. Now you don't see that anymore. In the last 3 years plus, no single protest by teachers, no single protest by pensioners, no single protest by civil servants, no single protest by the judiciary workers. And if you go to talking about the judiciary, go to the Sapele and see the high court, the new high courts, the buildings there, the infrastructure there. If you go to a court now, you'll be proud to sit there inside a court where the air conditioning, you are sitting inside air conditioning, and it's not like we had before. Okay. Go to the civil service building inside the GRA. Go to the new civil service buildings in Sapele Road, and you see the level of infrastructure. Too many to mention. I'm not talking about electricity. You see, the Osiomo power plant is innovative. You understand? So, in talking about infrastructure, the governor has done tremendously well, okay. So well.
Okay, let's pursue there. What are the flip side on all of this, since that he's talked about?
The good thing about everything he has said is that we both, and those watching us at home now, we stay in this city.
Yeah.
And we can verify the authenticity or otherwise of some of these claims. When you talk about roads, there is a standard that has been set. The governor has not built a single road with street lights in Benin. When we talk of roads now, when we talk of physical infrastructure, that road is like your veins. It's what carries blood through the economy of the state. If there are no roads, then you saw the video of our vehicle have sung that is viral on social media. If it rains in Benin, pray that you are not caught in maybe some part of the GRA somewhere around here in Ubowo, because you will be doomed. Now, some of these things you don't even need to rebuild. You only need to remove the sand inside the gutter so that water can flow. Most of the buildings you have talked about, none of them is new. He has not built a new one. The secretariat you are talking about was built by Bemudia. He only renovated. Roads he has not built. Schools, he has not built one. I didn't say he has not built. He has not built one. Most of the red roofs you see were built by the previous administration. And then it's even more worrisome because when you go to those schools now, you see that they have removed the signpost that used to be there, the project signpost, and they will now put the one that has the face of the governor. That's fine. It's the governor today. Whichever credit that is with the state government comes to him. But you did not build those. And we are even talking in Benin. Let's go to the interiors. What are the legacy projects? If they say, okay, Obaseki did not win second term today, when will he sit and say, I did this when I was in office? Students are not learning digitally. How? Are there computers? Let me give you an example. In Ekiti State, during the first tenure of Kayode Fayemi, before he lost to Fayoshe, I went to Ekiti then. And every student, every pupil in Ekiti had a tab, had a computer. Do we have that in Edo State? No. You say you are teachers, you have trained them. Teacher training and retraining of teachers is something that is continuous. So you do, as a journalist, for you to operate at this level you are operating, you must go for training and continuous retraining. It is not an achievement. That you are paid salaries is not an achievement in the 21st century. You are paid this thing, what do you call it, retirement, it's not an achievement. It has been paid before, it will still be paid after you. Now let's even leave all that. The Ogbomudia Stadium we were talking about, when Adam Shomole was governor, he innovated. You have come as governor, you have innovated. What is the difference? The next governor will come, if it is anything you use wears with time. The next governor, when they come and they see that thing has gone down, they will still innovate. Okay, let's go to Edo Central. How many communities have you connected with roads? Let's go to Edo North. How many roads have you built in Auchi? When we talk of population, after Benin, maybe you talk of Auchi and maybe Uromi. What have you done in those areas that the people can see? Okay, let us come back home. Ovia Northeast local government, where we are seated right now, talking to the world. Which single project, infrastructural project have you done in Ovia? And because of the road is a super deck. Although, let's not talk about the quality. That one is a story for another day. But it's a super deck. The other one, the Dowina Road, is C4 and World Bank. So which one is your own? Where is the allocation for infrastructure? I am not saying, look, I'm not here to bastardize the governor. He has done some things right. Give it to him. He has done certain things right. But to praise him to how everyone has done, he has done it all. No, he has not. And he has not even done 20% of what we expect from him. Talking about there is no more Agbero. It is a lie. Just go to town. You will see them. They wear black, they wear green on top. I have a video I will show. If I had the opportunity, I would have shown to the public. I'll put it on my Facebook page later. Where a poor guy climbed on top of a Audi and they were driving along Apapa Road. Someone sent me the video. I was shocked. Agberoism is still there. Look, Agberoism has come to stay. Even in the US, there are people that will never work. They will not work. They will all depend on government to take care of them. That is where the government comes in. You give them responsibility. You say you have a drone. Which job did you create for them? 200,000 job is a mirage. It's a fantastic failure. The legalist report, we have not seen. These are key performance indicators that the government himself set for himself, that this is what he wants to achieve. Benin Industrial Park is a mirage. Osimo power plant that you are talking about now, public-private partner, don't forget, government don't put money in power again, no, even the federal. It is private individuals. Yes, a private company has built something to power your state. Is it free? When they bring the light into Benin now, are we not going to be paying? How can that be counted as an achievement? And it's not going to your home, so let our people be aware. They are putting it in government buildings. All the street lights in Benin, 90% are not working. The ones you met, you have not erected one. These are verifiable facts. Just go out on the road and you will see them.
Okay, let me pause you there.
Yes,
Fabrice, I'd like to get you in here.
I think I would. My brother here is what he's saying is very laughable, and then let me come in and educate him a little bit on some of the things that he.
Please do.
He raised. Yeah.
He raised,
yes,
and I could see some of them were born out of ignorance. I will just correct those impressions. First of all, he said the governor did not build any roads. Secondly, he mentioned...
No, I said he did not build schools.
No, you mentioned that the governor did not build any new road.
No,
then you said the governor also did not build... no street light is working in Benin. And then you said...
90%.
Yes, you said the stadium... The stadium
was renovated.
Yes, by Communal
Let's start. It wasn't renovated by Communal Adam Shomole. In this renovation was not done by.
No, it was done by the governor. The stadium was renovated before by Communal Adam. Yes, let's be clear
educate about
some of those things.
First of all, as a government, when you want to embark on a project, you look at three things. First of all, you look at the viability of that project. Also, the economic importance of that project to your state. Now, let's look at the stadium, for example. The Ogbe Stadium, right now, is the only stadium in the whole of West Africa that have a VAR facility. installed.
This is a new innovation in football.
I'm coming.
All right.
Please, you had your time.
Just become
You know, I want to help you so that when you live here, you'll be very much educated.
No, just make your point. You don't have to help me.
So it is the only stadium in the whole of West Africa. I'm not talking about Nigeria, the whole of West Africa with VAR facility installed. And we all know that on average, the VAR facility costs more than $3 million on average.
That's 1.2 billion.
You can go to Google, go anywhere and make inquiries on that. And the advantage is that when you have VAR facility in your stadium, you get to host all FIFA games. Now, what's the advantage of that? The advantage of that is that every Nigerian game will now be hosted in Benin City. What's the advantage of that? The local economy will benefit from it. The hotels will benefit from it. The food vendors will benefit from it. Every time a match is played, those in the informal sector and the formal sector, they will benefit from it. The value chain will go around for everybody. That's smart thinking. That's smart thinking. Now, he mentioned that the governor has not built roads. Now, those in the Yekogba areas, go and tell them, go and tell them the governor has not built roads. And see if you leave that place without them entering you. Go and tell those living in Ugbo and Agba that the governor has not built roads. Go and tell those people living in Sapler Road by
are you talking of PZ? I can mention all. I know where you're talking about.
The other roads in those areas. Go and tell them that the governor has not built roads. Go and tell them that the government has not built roads. Now you talk about street lighting. You talk about street lighting. What is the purpose of having street lights when you have to use diesel to power them? Now let me give you a clear example. Between 2010 to 2014, the state government spent over 3 billion in diesel to power street lights in Apapava, Airport Road, and environs. Over 3 billion, and those contracts were awarded to the cronies of the governor, the former governor then. Go, the records are there. You understand? So you spent that amount just to buy diesel to power your street light. That's waste of funds. That's enough money for you to renovate more than 100 schools.
Which he did.
And he said that now what the state government is doing is with the solar power plant, that will bring the cost of powering our street lights to more than 80% down.
But you still have to pay.
You understand? More than 80%. Government has to pay for things. It doesn't mean that you are a government that you get everything for free. No government in the world gets everything for free. You have to pay, but you have to have what we call smart thinking. You have to use the people's resources judiciously so that you can channel resources into other things. The reason why the state government under Godjo Obaseki is not borrowing money today is because the government has cut their cut according to their size. Now, take the issue of Agbero that we're talking about. For example, in Oba Market and Lagos Street, we have more than 5,000 traders that trade in that market, around that market. And before now, every trader was paying 970 naira daily to a particular venture. Don't want to mention names. To a particular venture that every Edo person knows. They were collecting that money. Every day they were raising more than 8 to 10 million from those markets and those areas. And then they were paying 1 million to the state coffers monthly. So at the end of the day, the same market right now, the traders are paying 200 naira daily, and the state government is raising more than 150 million from the same market monthly. Monthly.
The state government or the local government?
Just hold on.
I said I was going to help my brother here. He's my brother. I'm going to help him. Yeah. Sometimes avenues like this. Thank you for your help. I'm going to treat one last.
Yes, I got the point.
Yes, sir. So, in avenues is a good platform for us to learn also. You know, now he said that the state government have not built schools. In 2016 to 2017, the state government embarked on the construction of 232 schools.
That just last month, the state government awarded 106 schools. You can go round. Construction of 106 schools additional are going on. Infrastructure, before now you go to schools, the schools that were built by Adasashole, you go to school and see children sitting on the ground. Now go to any school you see,
if you see children sitting on the ground. Just as we speak, the state government also has provided 50,000 seating. 50,000 seating for schools. So it's not just about building schools, it's also about providing infrastructure that makes those schools to run well. Now we're talking about the electricity. Electricity going to public buildings. What advantage does it have for us? Let me give you a clear example. Now, the Benin Electrical Company that supplies
Benin Electrical Distribution Company
to Benin, to Benin City and those states. Now, they have some certain power that they give to run Benin. And those power they give majorly to companies. First of all, majorly to companies. The Chinese company, for example, in Sapele Road, producing steel, the Chinese company producing glass, and all of that. And then you have major hotels. Now, what Osioma Power does is that it gives an alternative. Now, when this alternative comes, I'm aware that some of the companies in Sapele Road are already negotiating right now with Osioma. What happens is that when these companies leave, they go to Osioma, there's now more power for the average man on the street. And secondly, there's nowhere it says that the power is not going to homes. That's not true.
No, they say
no. The power is coming. They said those on Sapele Road, if you are fully paid, you are not owing, because you cannot be owing BVC and go and connect to Osioma.
Okay.
If you are fully paid, you are not owing BVC, and you can step down. You can provide infrastructure to step down the power to your immediate business or home or anything. Then you can connect.
Okay, so let's pursue there now. Let's get you quickly react to this, and then our final point for today will be on transparency and accountability in all our dealings as it relates to what was done before, what we're doing now, and how can the people make sense of this? But let me get you to write some of the points that yes, because I know you've been itching to interject.
Well, you know, when he said he wanted to help me, I was elated. However, he successfully even confused me further. Smart thinking, keyword, smart thinking. Where is the wisdom in using 1.2 billion to install VAR in Ogbe Stadium when you are not hosting Manchester United or any other big club from Europe? In fact, Bender Insurance is not even in the Nigerian Premier League, true or false? But let's even leave that. It's complete, you know what they call white elephant project. The national sports festival you wanted to spend the money on, you wanted to use it for, has since been jettisoned by the, unfortunately, coronavirus. You have spent money doing NAFEST, National Festival of Arts and Culture. Zero economic value to the people. Just bringing people, put them in hotels and spend government money. Let's leave all that. VAR is a complete waste of time. Nobody should look. And you said every Nigerian game. You want to compare Ogbe Stadium with Goswe Akpabio Stadium in Akwa Ibom. We know that Ogbe Stadium day back. Ogbe Stadium is a 20,000 capacity stadium. We are talking of Abuja National Stadium, which I've been told that has 60,000 capacity. We are talking of
Have you done lately?
Abuja.
There are cows inside.
Let's leave all that one. That one is still for another day. Now, this when he talked about schools, I became emotional because my late mom is an educationist. The school they listed as one of the schools they are rewarding. And people need to watch this part of it very carefully, because if we keep quiet, tomorrow somebody will come and reward the construction of ITV, whereas ITV is already constructed. It's dangerous. I went through it. You know, I have not been to all the villages in Edo State.
Okay.
So I took up the paper. I was reading. You will see Azama Primary School is the biggest school in Jetu, a community in Edo North. It was constructed first, red roof, with ties, fans, and PVC ceilings. Do you know it's part of the school they have rewarded? You will be shocked. You just need to see the document.
Perhaps it was rewarded because what is there now has been eroded.
Uncle, what is there? Excuse me. You have a time. You had your
Let's just take it out.
Is it POP they are now using to build public school?
No.
What you had there is still there. You know, all they are doing is they are trying to claim credit for the work of others. If you have done your own work very well, you don't need to claim another man's credit. It will shock you. Even the school opposite your station here is part of the schools that they have re-awarded. Go and check it. The one they put market inside now. Why would they not re-award it? When they carry public market and put inside the public schools, carry market and put. How will a market survive in a school? I don't get it. Where will they put their refuse? Where will they do their public? Let's even leave all that. Look. The governor and his people should learn to tell the people the truth. Making a policy out of deliberately lying to the public is dangerous. Because tomorrow, Obaseki will come and go. Maybe the next person that will come will be my friend. And Fares will not like the person. Fares will come and be saying, this thing that this person is doing, let him do it so that we can mention his own. And we say, no, that one that Obaseki did, it is we that now did it because we are not the one in government. No.
Okay. All right, thank you. Now, just before we conclude, before we take a last segment on the program, I heard someone talked about human capacity development, employment, as it relates to what it was in the past, where we are today. Can we establish that and interface it with the level of transparency and accountability in terms of accessibility by people to what is being done?
Yes. Yeah. Now, when we talk about human capital development, you know, it's also part of education, you know, and it's how much you develop your people, how much you prepare them, how much you empower them economically, how much you make them feel that sense of pride as Edo people. And I mean, the government has done tremendously well. Now let me give you examples. You know, I made mention before that before now, we were the trafficking capital of the world. Some years ago, the CNN came here. The CNN came here, and you saw the video of the slave people being sold in Libya. And then CNN came here. When they came here, they did a documentary on that from Edo. I watched that documentary. I was ashamed to call myself an Edo person. I was ashamed. But right now, you don't see any of that anymore. You know? So when a government is able to build that capital in you, that makes you feel that sense of belonging, that sense of pride as a person, that you don't longer look at the TV and see your people being dying inside the sea trying to cross to Libya, then you know that something has changed. Now, secondly, go to what the government has also done, has increased facilities for training people so that people can get training. It doesn't mean that if you do not go to the conventional schools, you cannot have something doing. Go to Sapler Road after Satana Market. I'm sure you pass there almost every day.
Yes, I do.
The production center. As we speak, they are constructing one in Auchi and they're constructing one in Nekuma. So you have, for every central zone, you have one. So people can go there, they can work, they can get free electricity, they can have access to produce things 24/7. And that is just the starting point. So then you talk about the Edo jobs, talk about the Benin Technical College, where people are now being trained. And you know, it is part of the government's plan, overall plan, to expand training for people, to give access for our people to become fully independent. Now, before now, what we had is a system where every young person in Edo, a youth, you know, had a particular don, a particular godfather, or a particular agbero that they look up to. So this person is either blocking roads, celebrating 1 billion in his account, or they are using machines from the bank to count the money that they extorted from drivers and market women daily. But right now, you have none of that anymore. People now aspire to become something in Edo. People now aspire to have a future in Edo. Our youth are no longer interested. They're no longer interested in going to Libya. Our youth are no longer interested in crossing the Mediterranean Sea to get to Europe anymore. Something has changed. Something has changed. So that's a platform. I've not said that is the end. It's an ongoing process.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
And what the governor will do is to continue to improve on that, continue to expand the program, continue to allow room for more people to benefit from this program. Because this is a government for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, this is a government for everybody.
Okay, thank you. Let's get a final word from you as you respond to us.
First of all, I commend my brother. He has done a great job marketing the government, but the truth remains the truth. He has not lied, though.
That's from your own perspective.
Yes, he has not lied, though, but he has only said the truth in such a way that...
From your own perspective.
He has said the truth in such a way. He has said the lie in such a way that it now looks like the truth. You understand? We are brothers.
He has not lied, though.
He has slighted the truth a little bit. Now, when you talk of human capital development, you know he has been talking of Libya. What we have lost in Libya, what we have stopped by way of the crossing the Mediterranean Sea, we have encouraged with advanced fee fraud, Yahoo. It is now the height of it, because hopelessness has taken over the gentlemen and women of this state. Because you don't see anything coming from government. There's nothing coming, absolutely nothing. The governor has not employed. Apart from his SSAs on social media, more than 400 of them. You understand? He has a lot of them, you know. I don't know the numbers. Now, human trafficking is a national problem. That's why we have NAPTIP, National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons. And to make people feel that not only they cross Libya road, now lie. People, Delta, Eastern states, who are those prostituting abroad? You think it's only how many population do we have that we can sustain most of the trafficking leagues across the world? For people from the west, from the middle belt, they are all part of this trafficking issue. And we commend the federal government for liaising with all the other foreign governments. Don't take note, subnational government cannot go and liaise with foreign government. Edo is a subnational government.
And
his job was to create.
You just said something that you don't say about.
Let's leave that one. You have another time on that. Now let's leave with that. Edo Innovation Hub. He forgot to mention it. I want to remind you. You people also have Innovation Hub. I've been there. I went to a program there. Why? Because I'm inquisitive. I want to know what really goes on.
So you are trained there.
Will you train them?
No, excuse me. If you say we were trained to look as if government has trained. Government did not train me. It was a private organization.
That is there.
No, that is not there. A private organization came. The government gave them building. You see this hall now? Use it to train a private organization. Okay. So I went there to see for myself. You will think the program there. That's why I like to have a start. That is why you see sometimes I get very angry when they are giving credit to the government. So that private organization that spent its money now to come and train a day youth, you only gave them apartment. You will not claim that it is you that did it. It's not you. So what if you only gave them the logistics to make it happen? So what is logistics? It's one off. What is logistics? Let's leave that one. Edo Jobs. Edo Jobs is a website too. It's just a website. It's like a Facebook. It's like Mark Zuckerberg coming tomorrow and say he has employed more than 2 billion people on Facebook. It's not true. Me and you will do Facebook. But we are not receiving salary from Zuckerberg. I'm on Edo Jobs. I also went there to log in and do the necessary things to see what it takes. Why not do something like Empower if you want to employ? Empower employed more than 500,000 persons for the past 4 years. And they are employing another 400,000 now. Let me rush. Benin Technical College is under control for the past 4 years. They are already training people there. Look, this school has been existing. I taught in Benin Technical College. So whatever I'm talking about, I taught mathematics there for 2 years. As an auxiliary teacher. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of my students are still there in the streets. We have been training people. The school has been training people. You said you want to build it, you came. Renovate, you know renovate. Build, you know build. And the thing has just been there. And for 3 years, how long does it take to build the house if you have the money?
I'm not a contractor.
Okay, let's leave that one. Every youth had a godfather in the state. It's not true. Some of us have never had. He does not have. Abi, you get? He does not have. Yes, we condemn some of those things, agro, intimidating market women, but those things do not exchange for the job of a governor, the job of a leader, a political leader that wants to encourage these people. Let's so that we don't waste time. You did not mention the intimidating factors of the governor. Why is he always fighting those who are opposed to him? Even as we are here now, I'm not even sure now that they are not already waiting for me. I don't want to go personal. No, not personal. I just want us to focus on the issue. When people, somebody can disagree, contestation is a necessary part of politics. This person resigned from your government, they are after him. This person resigned from your government, they are after him. But let us just leave all that. Okay. Now, let me cap it up. 200,000 jobs. Because we talk of human capital development. Yeah. First of all, the responsibility to develop your human capital rests solely on your shoulders as an individual. You must develop yourself. But the one that the governor promised on here, sat on here like this, and promised that he, in his first, is it 2 years he said now? Let's say he said first 4 years, he will create 200,000 jobs. I don't know if there's anybody who is the beneficiary of that 200,000 job that we are not aware of. Maybe Fares. Are you a beneficiary? Let me help him. Apart from the SSA, don't help me say your own.
You see, the governor did mention that he will, in the first 4 years, create 200,000 jobs. Listen, the word create, and he never said he will employ 200,000 people. So when you made mention of the governor employing a certain amount of SSAs, the governor said he's going to employ 200,000 people. No government can employ 200,000 people. Eh? I'm not sure. Yeah, no government. No, there are. No. Nigeria right now can employ. We don't have any state government that have on its workforce 200,000 people.
But he said it too. We didn't force it from him.
He didn't say we employ 200,000 people.
We create 200,000 jobs.
Let me tell you how jobs are created. Let me tell you how jobs are created. Now, Sonny, we have in Nigeria right now, last year, 2018, 2 years ago, the remittance from the diaspora to Nigeria was over $25 billion. Over $25 billion. And those states have a huge population of people in the diaspora. Yeah. Many of them working, hard-working people who every year remit monies back home. Many of these monies they remit back home are either used to construct homes, to empower businesses, and to support family members. True. You understand? Yeah. Our budget for 2020 is about 170 billion. That's slightly over $500 million. And if, let's say, we had 10% of the monies that come from the diaspora, that's $2.5 billion. Yeah. Now, what happens is that when your communities are unsafe, when touts and talks take over communities, and people are not allowed to come in and develop properties, then you have a situation where people will not bring their money to invest. Now, what you have now is that with the communities that are safe, go to the communities now, you see the amount of development going on. They have always been safe. Listen. They have been safe. They have been building houses. They have been building houses. That's development. They are all right.
Let me say big thanks to Fares, big thanks to Idris. Can we just take Moko? Take it. Yeah. 200,000. So that's what we want to encourage in the Edo 2020 governorship election. No hard feelings. We are brothers, we are sisters. We can disagree, but we shouldn't get to the point of getting personal. Focus on the issues, make the points, convince and convict the people to do your bidding through their votes. That's what we encourage. That's it on this segment of the show. When we return, we'll be talking about water. So available, but literally available for use. We've got some people that will be telling us more about that when we return on TMI Monday.